You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the May 28th meeting for the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. I'm going to call the LaPorte County Redevelopment Commission for Wednesday, May 28th, 2025, 4 p.m. to order. We'd stand for the pledge and then take a moment of silence for Jim Carroll.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Just two. Scott and Connie.
Roll call, Mary Jane.
Roll call. Working on it. Very fast. Adam Karonka.
Present.
John Carr.
Present.
Scott Cooley. Tom Fath.
Present.
Randy Novak.
Present.
Mark Parkman.
Here.
Connie Grammarosa. Jennifer Farley.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Public comment. Public comment is now open. Anybody from the public that would like to speak?
Hello, Mr. Commissioner and the board. Carlton Bishop. I work in the Office of Economic Development with Mr. Matt Reardon and MCR Partners. I'm on behalf of Business Retention, and Sims Meats just wanted us to relay a message for you guys today. We have met with them, and they've informed us that they've moved from a state-level USDA inspection to a federal USDA inspection. So they're going to be able to take their products all over the U.S., and they're in talks now to look at distribution methods, and they're currently looking to possibly have a second shift, which would be great because they're at about 20 employees, so this would help them out immensely. And they also wanted me to bring it to your attention that they're in full support of turning over roads, whether that be easements or the road itself, because they would love to see that taken care of by the county in future years.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anybody else?
Hi, Earl Miller from Kingsbury Castings. I've been here a number of times, right? So it's kind of the same story. I did go to the zoning board last week. There was a notice of a new company coming in, and they asked about, what our feelings were, and I got up and spoke. Yeah, I think we should have industrial companies coming in, but I disagreed with the way that the zoning board was allowing companies to basically be approved without any. The landowners are being used for their ownership of their road without any maintenance costs being put back into those roads. And that message wasn't well received. They said that was the wrong place for that message. This was the place for that message. So I'm being kind of shooed in different places. Matt and I worked together. We probably spent 2 hours a couple weeks ago trying to figure out something, and I think we basically came away with that we were stuck. Right? Is that the word? We're stuck.
Stuck?
We're stuck. Right? And unfortunately, I'd had a group of neighbors wanting to put money back into the road that we're on, and catching wind that you guys want to take over the roads. It's going to fall apart, right?
Getting wind that we want to
Yeah.
take over the roads so that we maintain them from here on out.
Yeah.
So it's not a takeover. You make it the way, and you and I know each other, but it's not a hostile takeover. It's not we're going to block it off or we're going to do something wrong with the roads. We're going to fix them and take that cost out of your pocket.
Well, that's great. It's just there's no promise of when that's going to happen, and that could be 10 years from now. That could be 5 years from now, because you guys don't know when that money is going to be available. And with the current economic condition, both federally and statewide, there is no guarantee of any money coming. And in the meantime, we have to live with those roads every day. And that's why the arrangement has been over the years that we, have put money back in. And Zach's back there. Jeff put in a lot of money on First Road, and I made the statement last week at the zoning board meeting. If you guys could just include a compensation for what we have already put into the roads, then I think there would be no problem. And we would actually be able to then continue to maintain the roads with the knowledge that then once you take them over, that then there would be compensation for what we've already put into what we're, turning over on the easement.
And just so you know, until we get everybody to sign the easements, and that's what they are, easements, you still have ownership. It's just an easement for us to maintain the road. Nothing's going to happen. So, I mean, we can't do it. We can't.
There's, and you guys are using the roads, and I know I said that before, and you said it's not you guys, it's the zoning, it's the, somebody else, it's the commission.
911 center, saving lives.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not complaining about that. We want to be a good neighbor, right? We're trying to be a good neighbor. Mm-hmm. It's just that there should be, there's a legal term for that there should be, and I forget the compensation term, but you guys should participate in the maintenance of the roads, and that's the statement I just want to make. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I just want to make that statement again.
And I'm sure Matt conveyed this, but that's part of the reason why we're trying to get the easement. That's part of the reason why we got the control of the rail out there, because prior to that, somebody said, oh, they're not coming through my area. They're not doing this. Or somebody didn't maintain their section, didn't do it. So we want unity and conformity out there with the roads and the rail, and that's our goal, sole purpose. Not to take anything away from you, it's just to...
Yeah, and we're okay with that. In the future, we're great with that. We're okay with that. It's just in the meantime, because there's no... Once anything, once we sign it over, there's no guarantee at all that maintenance is going to happen, and that the upkeep's going to happen.
Wouldn't it be in the contract once it's signed over?
We haven't seen a version of the contract.
So,
You haven't...
No.
Matt didn't talk about that?
We haven't seen a version of the contract.
Mr. President, can I, as a developer in the county, if I put in a subdivision, I take the drawings to the county, they approve it, I do the work, I pay for the road, I put it in, and I give it to them. So you guys have had to do maintenance on your roads.
Yes.
Once I give it to them, then they maintain it. It's in there, so it's not any different. I'm almost taken aback that because you guys have fixed your roads to get to your business, up to now, you want compensated for that, but yet it's no different for any developer in this county. When we put in a road and the county takes it over, we have to bear all the cost. The engineering, the stone, the asphalt, the storm, the curb, the gutter, everything.
And you don't sign a contract that the county's going to maintain that.
Once it becomes the county's road, it's the county's responsibility.
It's a cascading easement, right? So the folks that are in the further back sections, which are the two most recent developments, the $70 million Nexus situation, and how much was the recycling place was like 25 million, something like that. So they're in the further back section, right? So the cascading easement means that they're using the roads more, and they should be paying more maintenance and upkeep for the closer sections to where, it's used.
I understand that, but if it becomes the county's road, there's no longer a cascading easement. The county takes care of the road. And that's the part we're trying to get across. The sooner we can get this done, the sooner we can take care of those roads.
Right.
But paying you for work in the past, I would be really offended as a developer if this board did that, because I've never gotten paid for any of the roads that I've created and given to the town. I'm not sure why this would be any different.
Mitch,
to the county.
You got something to add?
Yeah, I just want to share with the board. I met with Tony Hendricks yesterday concerning the easements, and he finalized those. And we're going to get the finalized easements. I think there's 64-ish easements by this Friday.
Out of how many?
No, that's all of them. He's finished before he gave us a draft report.
You signed your easement?
Not signed.
Those are just the easements,
Oh,
Mr.
just
President.
100% done. Yeah, not signed easement. No, but actually,
Like what?
but we have them all. They're going to be finalized, and then we can take them out to the public.
Got it.
And just one other thing, you guys are using, the 911 center is using the road, and have not paid one dime in maintenance costs. So there is that same thing. So just reiterating what I've said.
So,
before.
and you said how soon, there's no guarantee on how soon the maintenance would start. The maintenance would start immediately, and there's a commissioner here that oversees the roads. The maintenance would start immediately. Are they going to get paved immediately? No. I mean, that's something that we got to work on budgeting.
But
as far as plowing them, patching potholes and doing things like that, it's like any other county road, and if somebody called and said, hey, there's a pothole, somebody'd respond.
Okay.
So that would be, I'm not speaking for the commissioners, but I'm assuming that'd be immediately.
Would love to see the agreement, yeah.
It's called county roads. And I don't know that there's an agreement.
So, why don't we turn to the attorney for a second, if you don't mind? So, Mr. DiMartino, I would venture to say that if we have possession of those, 16 miles or whatever of road, that at that point, the appropriate IC code on how we have to be responsible maintainers of public roadway
Correct.
comes into play.
But you also have the easement. So we're going to have a roadway, a right-of-way over the roadway. It's our responsibility to maintain and repair and
Plow it.
everything that goes along
Right.
with the roadway. The other thing is as to the IC code, you're going to have to add that to your county roads, and then that's going to have to go downstate, and then you're going to end up getting funding for the roads. But,
Right.
it's the government.
It'll go into the inventory.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many miles of roadway do we take care of now, Mitch? In inventory?
1,050 miles.
Right.
So we added, I think there's 12 out there. So we would.
Because there are some roads that are in worse shape than ours because we put money in. So who's going to get first priority when you get the money?
We're not, yeah.
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 But I mean, it's worth a discussion, though. It's worth a discussion.
Right.
Worth a discussion.
Worth a discussion when we get to the point. Right now, we're just working on the legals for the easements.
Right.
Well, but there are going to be people that might not want to sign that agreement.
Then it's not going to happen.
Then nothing's going to happen.
Then you all are going to be stuck on your own, and you're not going to have county support. And if you think that you have an issue with the county regarding going to the E911, then you need to take that up, and we can handle it in another forum.
What's the form, by the way?
Whatever forum you want to bring it in. If you want to take it,
Bring an invoice. Go. We're charging people to use road, which is why we took over the rail, because people stopping and saying I own the road and people can't use it unless you pay me a toll or a maintenance fee is not a good way to do business. I understand exactly how you feel because you put all the money into it, and we're telling you we would take that off your hands and we'll take care of the maintenance from here on out.
We want to be a willing partner on this. So, yeah, super.
We'll get you an easement.
our hope is that everybody goes to the easements. If people do not give us an easement at some point in time, we'll look at it and we'll determine what we have to do in order to get the easement. If there's 4 or 5 or 6 at this point, the board might go ahead and decide to do an eminent domain proceeding or whatever needs to be done at that point in time. But right now, we're not at that point in time. We're just not there.
We want to be good. We're not. We want to make it better for everybody out there. So it's our sole purpose.
We do know is the county's got a pretty good workforce at the highway department, and they do a good job. And we have the ability to do the stuff that you need to have done. Is it all going to get paved right away? Probably not. Nobody has that kind of funds. You mentioned it earlier. But can they take a road grader out there and address some of the issues, take some ground up asphalt, fill some holes, make it better than it is now? for,
Not on our road, though, not on Third Road. I mean, Third Road's in better shape than that.
but you mentioned other roads
Asphalt
that are
patch.
worse.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that would be an improvement to the other roads that are worse. And
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment?
can I say something just during public comment? I don't know if it's the right spot or not, but at our last chamber meeting, Westville Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Reardon had a table, and I just wanted to say I appreciated Mrs. Thomas was there, Mr. Rosenbaum was there, Mr. Schultz was there, and Mr. Hollyfield was there, Commissioner Hollyfield. And it was nice for Westville to have that kind of involvement from the county. So I appreciate that, Mr. Reardon, and everybody that came. Mr. Bishop was there too. I'm sorry, I missed you. Jeez Louise, I went right past you. I'm sorry. So it was a good turnout, and we've had a lot of good turnout. I just wanted to say thank you for the people who
Great.
showed up.
Thank you. Any other public service announcements? Moving on to approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second the motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Treasurer's report. Mary Jane?
The treasurer's report for May is as follows. US 421, number 1, the balance is $177,719. US 421, TIF 2, the balance is $97,638. That balance needs to be transferred to TIF 1 to make that TIF whole because the entire January bond payment came out of TIF 1. KIDC TIF balance is $79,549. 421 balance is $23,051. End of treasurer's report.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Oh, wait, we'll move on to claims. I'm sorry. Let's get this all. KIDC TIF, MCR Partners, $1,000. Harold Argus, Legal Publications, $24.79. Sender Dalton, Financial Advisory, invoice 11597, $1,126.93 for a total of $2,151.72.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Is there any questions on those? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next one is the 421-1 TIF MCR Partners for $4,000. NIPSCO Electric Service, this is for April through May. Wait a minute. We've got 2 April through Mays. Is that correct?
Correct. We have two.
2 services?
2 services.
I got it. Just wanted to make sure we weren't. So one is $99.18. The other one's $33.87. Senator Dalton, Financial Advisory, $1,126.94. U.S. Bank Bond Trustee Agreement in the amount of $1,650 for a total of $69,09.99.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second the motion.
Motion is second. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next one is 39 North MCR Partners in the amount of $1,000. Guy DiMartino, April, for in the amount of $1,500. Senator Dalton, in the amount of $1,126.93 for a total of $3,626.93.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I just want to reiterate to everybody, if you hear the same company being paid out of the different TIFs, it's because we split that invoice up so that each TIF pays a portion of that. That's how that is set up. So, moving on to old business, 421 I-94. Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. I think we're still waiting for the check from our friends at Love's, correct, Mitch?
I did send them the W-9 form that they
good.
requested, so.
So that's in process. We should be wrapping that up, and then I'll work with Guy to get the transfer done so we can move on. to other utility projects involving different cities that want to work with us. So I have at 421 and 94.
Great. KIP?
KIP, we are wrapped with the legal descriptions for the easements. We'll work together with the team to get these out over the month just to go to the baseline. There's been a discussion over the last 15 years or so about what to do about these, who owns them, who's on first, what's on second. All of that has gone on for a long time. It took a while to get to this point where we have the easements, the ownership, and we'll request a donation of easement so the county can take over the roads and invest in the roads. I think the idea is, Guy DiMartino pointed out that these people in the park would be willing participants to grant these easements in the exchange for the county taking care of the project. The alternative is to do nothing and leave it that way and pave roads that we have consensus from ownership and don't pave other roads. Simple as that. There's other alternatives out there to procure property, as Mr. DiMartino commented, through eminent domain, as these these easements are for a public purpose. That is the least desirable and the least would not be a recommendation from me, as it would take time and effort and money to procure something that we would be responsible taking care of anyway. I would also say that if anybody in Kingsbury wants to get some money together and spend all the money and prepare all the roads and then give them over to us, we would be happy to look at that as an option for moving forward. So if you wanted to get it up to county spec and convey it over to us to take care of, like what happens when NDOT takes a road, fixes it, and conveys it to a jurisdiction, I would recommend that that happen. But I don't know that that is a realistic option. So I think we'll stick with trying to outreach, get the easements assigned to the county, and then move forward to work on finding the funding. Just to go back a little bit about the discussion Mr. Miller and I had to do with TIF and how it works, what happens, and their company pays a fair amount of property tax. And I said, that property tax goes to the county, the township, the library, and the school board. There's no improvements that have been made at this facility that are captured in TIF. So therefore, there's no resources that I can bring to this board to say, let's plow this back into the infrastructure. We have what we have in the TIF. There's no mechanism for us to say, your project and you people here, we're going to collect your tax only that you spent and use it. We couldn't do that. We really tried to get through the process, and Earl understands, and he's right, we're stuck. The pathway here is to get easements into public control so that public funds can be rightfully spent making these improvements. And the sooner we have a bigger project that can create new tax increment, the more dollars that can be pledged into all of the infrastructure at the park, whether that's roads and streets or that has to do with water and sewer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Update on the rail easement?
In process. The ownership made an offer. We haven't gotten a response yet. Beyond, there was some additional requests made by the existing property owner that had to do with rail safety and length of blocking the access. Both items are spelled out in the switcher agreement, I think, pretty clearly. There's also some internal rail federal guidance related to safety inside of a business park that Limborg is going to push to make sure are applied so that it can get done and be finished. So they're not done quite yet. I don't know if Doug might have anything to add to that, but I think they're close, if he's still here.
Here he comes. He's sneaking up behind you.
You tell them where they're at. Thank you.
I think we're almost there. They wanted 5 minutes, close down time. Feds require 10, and they wanted a gate. I guess they're like $1 million, and it's not a public access way. So I went back to them and made those changes. I said, we'll put up a sign, but you're not getting a gate. We're waiting to hear back from them now.
Great. Thank you.
Other items at KIP, we've done some outreach with Senator Young's office, as I brought up before. Leanne Angerman came in last week, and Carlton hosted a meeting with the commissioners to talk about the same property, the 1,000 acres that's owned by the Fed. We want it. We don't know the environmental conditions, but we want to start the dialogue with the feds to say, if you're going to do something with this before you give it away to somebody else, why don't you allow for us, the County Redevelopment Commission, to get ownership of that. We can help focus development out there, and we can help drive some of the tougher projects and people's perception related to that. If we can get our hands on that property. This activity is being done concurrently with the same ask to the state of Indiana for the 750 acres of property along Hupp Road. I don't know, there's a new administration, they may have a different thought process. As the Superfund requirements wind down for Fisher Kalo at Kingsbury, I know that property was part of it. If there's a way to do a land swap or there's a way to decouple that, we're exploring that with the state. They need to dig into this. It's not a easy issue. There's a lot of paper behind this, but those are two. I mean, if we get our hands on 75 or 15 or 1,700 acres of property, we should.
It'd be great. Thank you. You got something?
Is it fair to say that, in your experience, the problems that we're having with these roads have hindered some of the development out there? And if we had good quality roads, that would probably help some of the people that are interested in moving out there. Is that a fair statement?
I'd say it's a fair statement to say that if you have adequate infrastructure, roads, water, sewer, you're going to have a better chance to convince somebody that they should spend their money here by a long shot. Otherwise, you'd see business parks with crushed stone roadways and no utilities, or not at the level that would be necessary to run manufacturing facilities. That's how they'd build them, but that's not how they build them. They build them with roads and adequate water and sewer. So that's the challenge we're facing, but that's true.
Anything else?
Well, not on that.
39 North?
So 39 North, working backwards to the previously proposed project at the interchange of 20 and 39. JPR has not rendered their findings yet. And if you recall, that's related to the trailer parks up there and a lawsuit brought by the state of Indiana. So we're waiting to see what the findings are. If they say we need to hook this up to municipal utilities, that would be a great thing. We would be then working, or the recommendation would be to work with the city of LaPorte to make those connections to a level that was specified by the findings in the court case. It will create, hopefully, a joint venture between the city, the development people on the corners, not necessarily having to do with anything with the mobile home park, but the other commercial opportunities on 20. So I'll keep you posted on that. It would make sense to work from that standpoint backwards to the city area where 39 is, so that we can talk about that utility extension. Oh, and before I forget, Mr. Chairman, back to the Kingsbury TIF, we're still on the expansion, don't know how far it might bump out. It might bump out a little bit further. So we're still in limbo, but we do have all the parcel information relative to the original footprint.
Great.
So once that gets sorted in some form or fashion, we'll be able to move very quickly and bring that to the board.
Great.
That's it.
Anything else on those?
No, sir.
New business. Consideration of 3520 project?
Yes, sir. We have, not to be confused with 3920 project. We have a similar project, but different. We have with us today the development team and the landowners for the property by Serenity Springs. And Mr. Radke is going to come up and prep the project. I know that they brought an easel so you can kind of get an idea of where we're talking about. But as you may recall, back in the what are we going to do at 35, 20, and 94 days, we're right back to having the same discussion. What about the utilities? Where do they come from? How can it work? So we had a meeting earlier today. Their proposed initial project is a $10 million hotel to be located at this interchange. The pricing seemed to match up for the market for that type of hotel and size and the investment. And there's some work that has to be done relative to ingress and egress, but I'll turn it over to the team and they can talk about it. They just wanted to let the board know that they're working towards this project. They have invested money to pay a company to do a feasibility study on the hotel side. I think when you find out, you listen to the presentation about the hotel, you know, these guys are 70-30. They need 30% equity, 70% borrow. No one's doing any of those projects. 30% is actually a very aggressive number. Usually it's closer to 50 anymore for equity. But they have a product and a profile and locations in many other states that they're going to talk about. This isn't a bad spot for this. I'd like to see, frankly, more development and some change of the land use around there. But I'll turn it over to Mr. Ragland.
Thank you.
My name is Gary Bradke, owner of Bradke Engineering and Surveying, and I work with Mr. Rich Austin, who is the owner of the property. And what we're doing is handing out you a handout. What the first pages are the outline of my presentation, and the second page group is a plan, which is to open up. There's 3 drawings on there, which we'll be talking about shortly. And then the third item is the pro forma done by a consulting firm and stuff.
Hi, I'm Rich Ostergren. Property I acquired about 30 years ago when I built Serenity Springs. This is the ramp for 94. This is 20, and this is 35. This is the property line right here, and this is basically where the hotel would be, the restaurant. Serenity Springs is back in this other half. Is there any questions I can answer for anybody?
Well, anyways, Rich and I have been working on this project for quite a few years, and stuff, and we've. I ended up drafting the plans that you're going to be looking at, and stuff, and we felt the best move would be first trying to get a motel interested, and we felt that would be the key way of getting this project started. And so what we did is we sent out 28 plans sets to different motel chains throughout the United States. And we received one call back, which is the Cobblestone out of Wisconsin, and contacted and back and said, we're interested. And so we felt that if we can get the motel, we can then work on a restaurant and other developments in the area. We met with Chris Hart, which is here now. He'll be explaining what his proposal is. He started a presentation with Rich and I and said about the first thing you need to do is to do a feasibility study. Nobody's going to build a motel in your area without a feasibility study. And then he said the negative thing, the owner's got to pay for it. So what Rich and we paid for this study. A company out of Wisconsin actually did the feasibility study. And what that is, this is actually, we just received the final copy of the feasibility study yesterday, and it's very thorough. But what is attached to your report is the pro forma of it, kind of a summary of that study. And so, and Jessica Jenk was one of the partners of that company what did the study for us. You can see in the handout how much we had to pay for it. What the outcome of the study was is it stated that a 54-unit motel is feasible. And what they also said in the report, they would be looking at a future extension to about 78 units. But they felt like the 54 would be economical for the first 5 years. And if the business expanded and everything, we would go up to 78 units. It would be about a 2.5 acre parcel that they would be purchasing. You can see on that plan, the first plan sheet, it shows the motel proposed, the proposed restaurant, motel, and the parking lot, and stuff, and how it fits into the intersection. You can see the great exposure to 94 and 20 for the motel. The motel, and Chris will go into more details on the motel. I spelled a little bit out on the outline. Financially, where the project sits, just to build the motel building and the site for the parking lot is about $10.5 million. It's going to, the requirement basically in the study says that you need to have 30% investment, investors in it. So about $3 million would be private investors and stuff, and the other $7.5 million could be then borrowed. That's basically the on-site. But as you know, there's got to be sanitary sewer extended to it. I think because you know what on the other project, what was proposed in the area, the sewer, there's a lift station right at the intersection of 35 and 20, and it would be a sewer extended to that site. Water main is obviously the big issue. It would have to come down 20 and under 94 and be extended from the city of Michigan City. The street needs to be, there. Right now it's a driveway to Serenity Springs, but it would be end up with a county street. And then storm sewer, we would be picking up a storm sewer, a detention pond between the storm sewer and the lake, and then it'd be dumped in the lake, and then there's an outlet across 94 in the lake. So the future development, there would be more development possible along that proposed street from the motel and restaurant over to 35. There's a lot of area that can be now developed with this project because it would have sewer and water in the street there. We show some other things that can happen. There's like 3 or 4 buildings, warehouse buildings that can be developed into stuff. And then way over to the top right, I show a 14 duplex subdivision. The actually foundations are there already. And so we're thinking that this would be a nice development for people living in there and working in this future, all of this future development. The last item is that revenues, tax revenues. There's 2 types of revenues that will be projected. There's a direct revenues, which is taxes, sales tax, lodging tax, real estate tax. You can see what a 5-year amount was projected in this study. And then the indirect tax, which is basically the restaurant has to buy food and stuff, and that was also projected indirect and stuff. So those are all projections what are in this study and stuff. So that was a quick overview. All this meeting is tonight is to explain this is a project we're working on. It's in a TIF project area, and we have a lot of work to do to get this thing moving along, but we're feeling very comfortable because we got a motel chain that is interested in working with us to make this happen. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris to explain the motel more.
Hi, I'm Chris Hart with Cobblestone Hotels. Just to give you a little bit of background, Cobblestone is based out of Wisconsin. We have 165 hotels in 27 states. We actually have 3 in Indiana. Our focus is that we build smaller hotels, upper mid-scale and slightly upscale. We really don't go into the large cities. So that was really appropriate for kind of this spot. There are a lot of hotels in the surrounding area, but up close on that intersection with the interstate is a great spot for us. And we don't need as much demand for our hotels to do well. So the study called for a range of, I forget, it was 50 to 60 or somewhere around there. We slot in there at 54. It ends up, it's in the booklet I handed out, it's the first prototype that you come to. It's a 4-story flat roof, brick stone front. Yep. And so we take the photos in the common areas and in the rooms. All of that tend to be historical photos from the community. There's the things you would expect for, this breakfast is included. There's a fitness room, that sort of thing. Where there's a boardroom area. There's a in the morning, there's an area that is for breakfast, and in the evening, it's a wine beer lounge for guests. So it's we kind of refer to this as kind of boutique-ish. It's not true boutique in the sense that it's not custom for everything, but it's clearly a little more upscale, and it's kind of tailored to the community a bit. So we like this. We like the spot. Our whole business model is designed for us to fit into spaces that the bigger national brands often won't go, because they won't build a hotel at this scale, at this room count, so they can't fit. So that's why we were interested in this area when maybe some others weren't. So I think that's kind of the high points of it, but are there questions?
Do you have a market niche or anything like that? Are you looking more for business travel? Because around here, we're kind of mixed use, right? You got tourism, you got quite a bit of industry, some of it nationwide or international, some of it local, to where you see a lot of sales and business type travel, but then you also see the folks that are going to come here for the boat races in the summer and things like that.
We want all of it, honestly. We want bits of all of it, in the sense of we want as many different sources of demand as possible to get rid of too much seasonality.
What do you find with your current market, with your current existing sites or real estate, right? What do you have? Do you find that you're going to have more of the Monday through Friday travel, or you find yourself more
Depends
packed
on the market. It varies completely by location. So we like a mix of business, because that's your Monday through Thursday demand, and then some attraction, tourists, you name it. And on the interstate there, you're going to have transient guests that are just driving by and they need a spot in that moment, and they're not going to come into LaPorte where the current hotels are. It's just too far off the road for them. So we're going to pick up some of all of that, and the feasibility study that was done actually had a pretty good mix of all of the above. Anywhere from 17 to 23% of each of the different sources of demand. So we like to see as many different contributors to demand as possible, because then a problem in one spot doesn't kill your hotel. So,
any other questions? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Are there any other questions regarding Rich and I? Again, I appreciate the time you're giving us. I'm sure we'll be back as we get more and more into this, but we just wanted the opportunity to bring you speed on one of your TIF projects.
Definitely. Thank you. Appreciate it. Any other business?
2 times in one day. Oh, man.
Yeah.
All righty. So I have spoke with New Carlisle, and we have a animal clinic in LaPorte County that requested a water quote. So the team, we've been communicating with New Carlisle to understand what that looks like for water into LaPorte County, and they want to meet, they want to talk about it, get the task force together, and they said that concerning this specific property, that it looks fine in terms of capacity and, in terms of whatever legal issues, I guess, we were having before, they don't foresee any problems. So if there's any questions about that?
It's an animal clinic very close to the CVS that's there, correct?
Exactly. It's extremely close to the CVS in LaPorte County. So that's a great stride for us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, working with them, and I know, Mr. Novak has been working with them personally too to try to get some of that to happen with water,
Right.
coming into the county.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other business? Hearing none.
Motion adjourned.
Your second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.